That's good though, Jack. I like
It is
that.
a good one.
Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to the Sunday Morning Sports Podcast. I am BA along with Jack Hurst, James Martin, and Keith Engel. Hope you gentlemen are doing fine this morning. I don't think Rory McIlroy is feeling fine this morning, but I guess he'll live on to play another day at Augusta. What is going on with this dude? I mean, wow.
Rory looks like when he didn't own a green jacket, and he said that in an interview I heard this morning. He sounds like the least confident guy tied for lead the last day of the Masters I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, despite posting some of the most jarring stats in recent memory in the first round, the 36-year-old Rory McIlroy is hanging on tied with Cameron Young heading into today's final 18 holes at Augusta. Losing a six-shot lead.
In 11 holes. It didn't take him 18 to do it.
You're right. He mainly because, and he mainly lost the six-shot lead because of his driver problems, which he is so infamously known to be a good one at. He narrowly made the cut, sitting 53 out of 54 players. I think he needs to get himself back on the road again here with the driving. And yeah, he missed a couple of like James said earlier before we got on there, he had a couple double bogeys too, and that's not good. In fact, he said that when he talked to what's his face, the ex green jacket golfer, what's his name, Keith? He alluded to him as and talking about he should never double bogey. That's one thing he needs not to do in this tournament is not double bogey, and he did it.
Yeah, I didn't hear who said
twice.
That, but that is one of the things.
I think it was Jack Nicholson. Yeah, it was Jack Nicholson.
Nicholas was in the broadcast booth for a while, and he did say that that's obviously it's kind of 101, right? Stay away from double bogeys, and you play better golf. It's not. But I felt like watching Phil Mickelson from some of the places that Rory put himself yesterday. He made some great shots. He scrambled very well yesterday. Quite really. We can talk all we want about him blowing a 6-shot lead, and that is bad. But quite frankly, he could have been 4 or 5 shots behind today because he scrambled very well to be 1 over yesterday. The way he drove the as you said, drove the ball off the tee. He played a really good round other than his driver.
Right. Absolutely.
And he came back.
It's a mental thing now. McIlroy, he has to play like nothing happened going forward this final round. It kind of reminds me a little of that legendary tennis match in the early 80s between Bjorn Borg and John McEnroe. Bjorn Borg had 6 match points. And can you imagine McEnroe fought him off all 6 match points and won that 4th set to send it to a 5th set. And even McEnroe said he thought Borg was going to fold over. Because when you blow 6 match points, I mean, it's got to weigh in your head. But Borg played, like they said, like nothing happened in the 5th set. He was mentally that tough, and that's what McIlroy has to do today. Play like nothing happened, like he never had a lead to begin with.
I agree, Jack.
The interview I heard, though, he just is trying to talk himself into. He said at one point, he said, "Why am I playing like a guy who's never won a green jacket?" He says, "I have to remind myself I won one."
Yeah,
which is very
exactly. He should just have a short memory. Just have a very short memory.
Yeah.
Go out there and just do what he normally does, and win this round. This is it. This is for all the marbles there. And I think Rory McIlroy. I mean, what you said, Keith, earlier, he may have double bogeyed and lost that lead, but at the end, you could still see the things he was doing that kept him for a tie.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And by the way, there's 8 players within 4 shots of the lead today, so it's not just Cam Young and Rory today. There's 8 shots, and Scotty Scheffler's sitting out there, going to go out much earlier than these guys. If he goes low again today and puts some pressure on, who knows what's going to happen today? And CBS has got to be the happiest people in the world. I mean, they didn't want Rory coming in the final round with a 10-shot lead.
Right. Yeah. Not good for viewership.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So much luck to you.
I love as a golfer. I know you want to move on quick. As a golfer, I love to watch these guys struggle because it's no fun for me to watch them go 25 under par in some of these tournaments. That's not fun. This is fun.
Not yet, Jessica. We're getting to that.
Keith, are you saying your game is not that great?
My game is okay. My game isn't, Rory McIlroy good by any means. And I would probably shoot. And I have like a 9 handicap, which isn't terrible. I shoot low to mid 80s most of the time, so I shoot pretty well for an old guy. I know you wanted to say that. I thought I beat you to it.
I wasn't going to say that. Wasn't going to say it.
But if I played on that course yesterday, because it's treacherous, I'd shoot probably 200 there. That's how good or hard that course is.
I was going to say for an amateur. Not an old guy.
I saw you forming the word old. I saw that.
No.
But anyways,
what have you guys done to Keith? What have y'all done to Keith?
We Shazammed him with Jack. Anyway.
This is really good stuff for the Sunday show. Keith Scout, James. Good stuff. Good questions, James.
You don't need to
keep it going. Jessica, we'll talk football in the last 10 minutes. You could go away for a half hour and then come back.
What about the irony?
Oh, my goodness.
Thanks, Jack.
Jack, you know this as well as I do, though. What's the irony of a show named after Mac McGrath leading with golf? It would never happen.
Mac wouldn't allow it.
Never. I'm happy you did, though.
Good luck to Rory. I hope everything works out for him today. Let's play a little bit better out there. I know it's a rough course, but hey, you won a green jacket last year, so you can do it. You can do it. All right. So on to the NHL real quick here. The Red Wings were eliminated from playoff contention yesterday with a 5-3 loss to the New Jersey Devils. They have now lost. They have now not been in the playoffs 10 years in a row after being in the playoffs for 25 consecutive years. And this year is really bad because through 80% of the games, they were in playoff contention. And not since 1969-1970 season, when the Montreal Canadiens had a 69 points in first 53 games, that this has happened to a team. So I think it's time for somebody to probably escort Steve Yzerman out the door, because he is not to say he's been here for 7 years and has not made this team a playoff contender.
Put him back on the ice, maybe. Put him back on the ice.
Maybe that's probably where he needs to be. Right. Good morning, Linda. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Linda.
Hey, Linda. Hope all's well. I don't look to me for any sympathy. My New York Jets haven't been in the playoffs 15 years in a row. So, the Red Wings are just kids as far as I'm concerned.
Well, considering the fact that the Red Wings were once a dominating franchise in the NHL, that's kind of bad for them. We talk about a lot of teams here in Motown, the Red Wing, with the Pistons being successful, the Lions kind of being successful, and the Tigers trying to get up there as well. Usually in this sentence you include the Red Wings, but we haven't been able to include the Red Wings in 10 years. So it's just now they're becoming the dead wings like we used to have them. But it is what it is.
Isn't this? I mean, they have improved record-wise, though, significantly, haven't they, Brian?
I mean, yeah, they've been better.
I mean, in recent years.
I wouldn't consider that. Well, I mean,
this year compared to recent years,
it's kind of like let me compare this to your New York Yankees. The Red Wings are expected to get into the playoffs. They're expected to get in the playoffs every year.
Yeah,
that's the expectations. Now, and I think that's the problem. Regardless of how they improved, whether better or just a little bit better, the expectation is them to get the playoffs. Period. This franchise is been built on that proud legacy. So now I don't know. Like I said, I don't know where Steve Yzerman's going from this point, but it's definitely not.
Brian, 41 wins, 30 losses. I mean, I know that's a ton of parity in hockey, but when you look at the record, that doesn't exactly look like they're bad. 41 wins, 30 losses.
They're bad. Well, again,
they've been bad the last month.
Yeah, they've been terrible. I think they were 3-11-5 or 3-11-5 coming out the gates after the Olympic break, and they were at least third in the conference before they went into the Olympic break. So they basically had a meltdown. Yeah, as a meltdown over that time, and that's the players have been bad in the last half. The goaltending has been bad in the last half. The coaching, in fact, the coach has been saying that he's probably part of the problem as well. But actually, it's going to fall on top of Steve Yzerman because he's one that wanted to bring this team out of the playoff slump that they were in 7 years ago, which was 3, which Jack would be like poo-pooing against. But yeah. I don't know what's going on with him. But right now, Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Montreal, Ottawa, and Boston have all made the playoffs so far for the Eastern Conference. And for the Western Conference, Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, Utah so far have made it for the Western Conference. So it's going to be should be really good because, well, Florida's not in it no more. So we're going to have a brand new Stanley Cup champion. That's good, I guess. So
I think the Buffalo story is. I think the
Buffalo story.
Them coming back, they've had almost 2 decades. It feels like of futility. And Lindy Ruff in his second run there has done a really good job getting them back to the top of the East. So great job, or near the top of the East anyway. Great job.
All right, from the NHL to the MLB, let's talk about this. And this is also related to another story that me and Jack were getting into too, with players not making really good decisions lately. Jazz Chisholm's failed decision in the 10th cost the Yankees yesterday to Tampa Bay. He admitted that he was confused about which runner that he needed to get out in the double play ball that was hit toward him, which he did not handle cleanly, by the way. Let's get that straight. They figured that he could tag could have tagged the second base runner and threw to first and got the double play and got him out the inning. But instead, he did not do that. And that ended up being the costly mistake that led to the loss. I know that Keith has talked about Jazz a couple of times and his lack of fielding.
He's a good fielder. Lack of mental focus sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a good fielder, really good second baseman, but
it didn't cost the Yankees the game. I think we're being over dramatic. What we're making a big deal about is Jazz throwing the ball to first base. There's 1 out while the winning run is scoring. The winning run would have scored anyway had he thrown home. But why are you throwing to first base? It made no sense with 1 out. Like, you get the guy out, the winning run is scoring. But he didn't field the ball cleanly. They played the infield in, so he wasn't going to get the guy at home. The only hope was to get a double play at that point, and he didn't quite handle it cleanly. Could they have gotten the runner going from first to second who maybe held up for a moment? It's all possible. but why on earth did he throw the ball to first base? That was the thing about it. It was like such a mental gap, but it didn't cost the Yankees the game. Let's be clear on that.
The play itself literally cost the Yankees a game.
Now, it didn't cost a winning run. Would have scored.
No, not if he
Without
got the double
question.
play because he could
They
have tagged the
wouldn't have
runner.
got-
That play,
He tagged
But
the
he
runner,
didn't handle
Jack.
the ball cleanly. Had he handled the ball cleanly, yes.
see, I
Then
swear,
he could have gotten a double play, perhaps.
Now you
but
sound
he didn't handle it
this,
cleanly.
and this is exactly the problem I have with Aaron Boone. And now Jack is channeling Aaron Boone. We're going to excuse away Jazz taking the game away in the 10th inning. Come on.
I mean, listen, the same thing is happening with other teams. Players make mental mistakes.
I
You work with them. Believe me,
Yeah.
Aaron Boone has had talks with Jazz Chisholm behind closed doors. The Yankees can't play anyone else at second base for now. They have no other alternative. He's their best option there.
That's sad. I like Jazz. I do like Jazz a lot, but he has these little mental
Yeah.
his brain cramps up, and yeah, I don't know. Well, once he bobbles the ball, the games that's really the ball game. He's got to field it cleanly, and then they have a shot at double play, and they get out of the inning. You're right.
He fielded it cleanly.
Right.
Yeah, well, it's just like Jack's team, the Mets. Also, Mendoza's been having
They're
some
not
problems.
my team. I'm a Yankee fan. They're
okay.
not my team.
Well, you talk about the Mets a lot, so that's why.
Well, we got to try to give him a little equal time here. I mean, like Keith doesn't
Yeah.
want to give him any time on any of the shows.
I like to talk about Major League Baseball. That's all. I don't.
Oh,
Anyway, the same thing with Lindor's mental mistakes in New York. The other New York team was the Mets. Yeah, he's having problems too. And Mendoza's kind of like, I don't understand what's going on with this guy. So
I'll leave that for Jack.
No. We're getting to a certain point that I talked about years ago when the show was in its early stages. The Mets signing Lindor to a 10-year contract. I hate these 10-year contracts unless it's a very young player with tremendous upside. Then you could save some money. You lock him in as a career player. But Lindor was established at that point, and I said he's going to have a number of really good years. When he hits his 6th or 7th year, he's going to have $31 million a year. How's that contract going to look the last 3 years? I don't want to hear you paying a guy for 10 years and he's going to give you 6 good years out of the 10. And what's Lindor? I think in the 5th year that contract or something, 5th to 6th, and they got to pay him. He's going to have 5-6 years left at $31 million a year.
These teams know, Jack, we talked about this before, right? They know the last 2-3 years of these contracts, they're not going to get value, that same value they got the first, well, he's only in year 5, but the first 7 years or whatever numbers you want to put out there. Yankees have done it lots. When they signed CC the last time, they knew they weren't going to get value out of him, the same value out of him in his, I think it was a 7-year contract. The 6th and 7th years, he did the first 4. So I think that's the cost of doing business. You're going to pay guys for what they did the first part of that contract and overpay them, or you don't do it at all.
So you don't do it at all. Let someone else make the mistake. Look at the big picture. Don't look at things just at the moment.
Is trading an option, or are there trade clauses in his contract towards the end?
No one else is going to want to pay that big money the rest of his contract to James. What teams do, they pay part of the contract. So they're paying, so they're giving away money. I mean, it's
something for nothing at the end. I mean, like Keith said, they know what they're getting at that time. I mean, why else sign? I mean, you're trying to, like you said, I know you said you don't want to hear you get the best 5 or 6 years out of a player, but I mean, sometimes it's what you got to do. I agree with you. I don't like decade contracts at all. I mean, 7, 8, 9, 10-year contracts is ridiculous because eventually, but sometimes it does benefit the business to do it that long, because you're already getting way ahead of what inflation and everything else that it increases.
It is smart, James. You're right, and Jack talks about this a lot to give him credit. Signing young guys, as he mentioned before, like the Pirates wrapping up Connor Griffin.
Yeah.
I talked the other night. I didn't know if there were opt-outs. There are no opt-outs in Connor Griffin's 9-year contract. He's locked into that contract for 9 years. He'll only be 28. He can still cash in, but it's a gamble for both sides. I mean, Connor Griffin is guaranteed $140 million, and he could have made more than that if he really excels. And the Pirates are out for $140 million if he falls on his face, which is unlikely. But
and look at now, James, what the Ravens are doing with Lamar Jackson. They offered him 3 years, fully guaranteed contract, big money. Lamar Jackson's not taking it. He wants like at least 5 years, at least. And the Ravens are thinking, is he going to be good in years 4 or 5? They could get really stuck with an awful contract, and they have a vision down the road. I don't know whether you guys would give Lamar Jackson the 5-year deal. Right now, it's tempting because he's still good. He's still your leader. You still need him. But what's going to be down the road? I mean, teams don't think of that as much as they should.
The unfortunate part about those types of players is that their peak is going to eventually, like, it's a lot quicker than a guy like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, because their legs is a huge part of their game. And they take a beating, which people don't like. Look at Cam Newton. I mean, he fell off a cliff.
That was a steep drop for him.
It was a steep drop.
James, the Panthers, shame on them. They allowed Newton to keep taking beatings game after game. Somehow they didn't protect him.
Right. I mean, but at the same time, with Lamar Jackson, you're starting to see more injuries that occur now in the latter part of his career. So I think we'll see how he does this year. But I'm really kind of alarmed that they let their center go too as well. And so, a guy like that definitely needs his offensive line. And, your the second best player on the offense is always the center. It's got to be the guy that hands you the ball and calls the plays on the line and stuff like that. So that's going to be a big deal for Lamar. And you're right. I agree with you. I wouldn't give Lamar a 5-year contract. I would probably be more inclined to do like a three-year contract because of the you're not sure about the life of his skill set.
Yeah. A young quarterback like a Drake May, I would give 7-8 years. Very, very young. He's going to be around. You lock him in for all those years. But
hey, Keith, if there's any more, do you have any more baseball news for us for today before I get into what's playing?
What did I jot down here for myself here today? The Yankees spotty play we already talked about. Mets bring up Craig Kimbrel, so that's big news. I think he graduated with Jack in high school. I'm pretty sure.
like me, he's taking a dip down in minus, trying to work his way back. Can you imagine a guy who was a mainstay at ESPN coming to us and being on this panel trying to work his way back to ESPN? That's what Craig Kimbrel did. Go to the minor leagues. He pitched a game. I mean, he's a potential Hall of Fame. At least it's going to be given some real consideration. And he's willing to pitch, he was willing to pitch in the minors a game or two.
Yeah. The really big news for me this week, and I mentioned it on the Wednesday night show, was that contract that Connor Griffin signed with the Pirates and Paul Skeens' reaction to it, which I think is telling that Paul Skeens knows that the door is wide open for him. He's not going to be a Pirate for long because he mentioned that, after the signing that Connor Griffin would be the face of the franchise for years to come. So
I don't think Skeens could become I don't think he could become a free agent for 3-4 more years.
He can't be. The Pirates are going to get rid of him before he's arbitration eligible, would be my guess. They're not going to pay him $40 million a year in an arbitration deal like the Pirates are paying Scooble almost. So I don't think they'll wait.
That was a record arbitration the Tigers got too. That's
if the Pirates stay in contention, I can see Skeens staying the year there. And if they don't, name will come up at the trade deadline. And if not, the next year, if there's baseball next year, we'll be hearing about Paul Skeens getting traded before that arbitration time.
He's going to make money somewhere.
Yes, sure. He's going to make a lot of money.
Oh yeah. So today's slate of NFL and Major League Baseball games goes as this: Miami is visiting Detroit, Arizona's at Philly, San Francisco's playing the Baltimore Orioles, Minnesota's at Toronto, Athletics at the New York Mets. The Yankees are going to Tampa or staying in Tampa Bay. The LA Angels will be playing Cincinnati. Washington's at Milwaukee. Chicago's at Kansas City Royals. Boston's at St. Louis. Pittsburgh, Chicago. Colorado at San Diego. Texas at the Dodgers. Houston and Seattle. And bringing up the rear, Cleveland at Atlanta. So there is your slate for today's Major League games. Now going to the NBA, which is today, is the final day of the regular season. Seeds are to be determined on today. We don't really have any seeding because some seeds need to be determined today. For the West, seeds 3, 4, and 8, and 9 have to be determined, and for the East, 5 through 10. So there you go. Today is seeding battle.
Seeding day in the NBA.
Seeding day in the NBA.
I think the Knicks are pretty well locked into the Raptors, though, because the Nets are not going to beat the Raptors today. So, sorry, Jack. They've been tanking for a while, like some other teams.
Well,
So I think the Knicks are pretty right. I like that matchup for the Knicks in the first round.
Yeah.
A lot. Probably the best they could do.
Who are they going to play?
The Raptors, assuming the Raptors win today against the Nets.
Can you imagine the pressure that Mike Brown is under replacing Coach Tibbs, where they say he at least has to match him and get to the Eastern Finals? But can you imagine, guys, for one moment, we haven't even thought of that, the Raptors knock the Knicks off in the playoffs in the first round. I mean, all hell's going to break loose in Knick land if that happens.
London.
They're going to make – we were talking, I think, in the past about Giannis, maybe where he might be going. The Knicks would have to do something drastic in the offseason, if not change the coach, completely shake up the roster if they got eliminated right off the bat by a Toronto Raptor team.
I think.
Well, let me ask you about that real quick. Now, if that happens, is Mike Brown's seat not hot, or is he going to get fired?
Dan Hurley'd be given the biggest offer in coaching history, I think, to leave UConn and come to the Knicks. Maybe they'd keep the same players, and that would be the major shake-up move. That would be one-stop shopping. Just throw them $20 million a year as the coach or whatever, $22 million a year. James Dolan will go crazy with his pocket, with his checkbook.
Well, he can't fire himself, so he's got to fire. If they lose in the first round, then Mike Brown and Leon Rose are both going to get fired.
And you can't. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. You can't just place the pressure on Mike Brown. You got players there that should be doing their job as well. No, I know you're not. I know you're not specifically, but I'm just saying overall, like what Jack mentioned, it's a lot of pressure there on Mike Brown, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm still of the mindset that Thibodeau should have never been fired in the first place.
That's what I was going to say. I'm not blaming Mike Brown because he shouldn't be coaching his team in the first place. So
right.
Mike Brown's a good coach. He has a good track record all in all. But coaches make a major difference in the NBA. I mean,
but the pressure has to be on Karl Anthony Towns too as well.
Agreed.
I mean, he didn't get it done there in Minnesota. And, there was a question early on in his career between him and what's the other player there that ended up leaving? What's the kid's name? He went to Miami and then went to Golden State. He just tore his Achilles.
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler, yes. They decided between the two. It didn't work out between them two. But even Shaq had to call out Karl Anthony Towns with his play in New York. And so he's been stepping up. But he's got to be the guy to say, when it comes playoff time, it's on me. It's on my back. You're the biggest star there. And I know they have Jalen Brunson there, but Karl Anthony Towns is the biggest star, literally and figuratively.
I know what James is thinking.
Got to show up every night, too.
If James were the GM and the Knicks got eliminated, I think, James, you would call the Timberwolves, because Karl Anthony Towns enjoyed playing there and work out 1-for-1 for Rudy Gobert to come to the Knicks for Karl Anthony Towns.
No, I would definitely look at Giannis. Like you said, I would definitely be looking to trade and not only make a big deal for your coaching situation, but I'd be looking to try to get Giannis there too. Uh, yeah, and I could send him Karl Anthony Towns to Milwaukee for sure for that, and a couple of first round draft picks maybe or
I
whatever.
think a lot of people want to blame, they're going to blame Mike Brown because that's just the New York state of mind when it comes to coaching. And Keith, you're right. It's not his fault. James, you're right. It's not his fault. It's basically the fault of the GM in all. So that is what it is. I hope. I mean, well, I'm a Pistons fan, so I'm not too hopeful of the Knicks, but whatever. I hope they do well.
It's the owner, and we can't leave James Dolan out of the equation because he's a main reason Thibodeau's not there. So I'm blaming James Dolan more than anybody, but you can't fire the owner.
Well, why does any one particular person have to get blamed? I mean, what is the owner, James Dolan? He allowed the Knicks to make all these moves. The Tom Thibodeau move, that's James Dolan. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
That's the key. That's the key.
And then Brian never holds a coach accountable. Never holds a coach accountable.
Always hold coaches accountable. You have never heard me talking about Dan Campbell, have you?
No, his defensive coordinator with the Lions, Aaron Glenn, comes and he coaches the Jets. He was a disaster. And Brian feels he's blameless with the Jets. Give him time. Give him the 5 years.
Organization. That's the reason why I give him the benefit of the doubt. The Jets were horrible before he got there. So I'm just saying, you got to give the guy a chance to straighten that. If he can't get it done at least 2 or 3 years, then you get rid of him. But other than that organization is, I'm sorry, Jack, that organization is bad. They're getting to be looking like the Lions of the, early part of this century. So they're bad.
Where does Jack set in his barometer? Because I'm bad. I hate all managers and coaches. I want them all to get fired, and you don't want any of them to get fired. So we're
anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack.
No. Only one team can win the championship. You look at the yardstick of measurement, like with your Pistons, for example. If they got eliminated even in the first round, I mean, they're going to get a bye, but if they got eliminated in their first series, you don't fire the coach. It's just one of those things. They're given a pass. But certain teams you get tired of waiting on year after year after year.
Jack, I know you say that only one team can win, and you're absolutely right. The math is perfect. But when I think about the Knicks, 50 teams have won since they won a championship, and that's not good enough here. I'm sorry. Maybe it's good enough in, I don't know, Phoenix. But it's not good enough here.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like I'm saying,
you got to have
the New York subconscious.
Put a deal together. It's easy to say, just trade this guy, trade that guy. You got to get value. You could trade the guy you have and be worse off. But Karl Anthony Towns is a very good player. You don't just trade him for anyone. What are they going to do? Trade him for Jordan Poole? I could understand with James's Pelicans. You work out a deal for Zion Williamson. You take a gamble, maybe, that Zion is healthy, fulfills his potential. I could at least understand that.
The Pelicans.
He was like, hell no.
I had to go look. I thought maybe the Pelicans were like championship contenders here or something. I don't know how they got in this conversation.
Well, they got El Dorado from him, right?
They got who?
El Dorado.
Yeah. I mean, El Segundo. I mean, I don't know if we're any good there. We're just not good right now. And there's potential. There's a ton of potential there. Mm-hmm. They just got to put it together. And I think the coaching change in the early in the season was a big deal. And I just want to see what they can do there. There's a lot of talent there. So it's just they got to wait till next season and see what kind of moves they make in the off season.
Hire Mike Brown after we rehire Tom Thibodeau. Do that.
For sure. Absolutely.
So as of right now, the playoff picture in the NBA looks as this. Obviously, the Pistons and Boston will be getting a bye. New York will be taking on Toronto. Cleveland will be taking on Atlanta. The play-in tournament would be Orlando versus the 76ers and Charlotte versus the Miami Heat. In the West, the top seeds would be OKC and San Antonio. First round matchups would be Denver and Minnesota. The Lakers
wins for Denver, by the way.
Yep.
And
Lakers at Houston. Go ahead, James.
Well, I was just going to say that Denver doesn't have any of their players playing, and questionable is Jokic. And so the Lakers, they have to play San Antonio, which I'm pretty sure they're resting all their players. So they're likely going to beat San Antonio if Jokic plays. The Lakers have to play Utah. So if the Lakers win, the Lakers have the tiebreaker because they won the series against Denver.
Yeah, and the play-in for the Western Conference will be the Phoenix Suns in Portland and the LA Clippers at Golden State. That'll be interesting. So this is dependent on the scores of today, and today's games are Detroit at Indianapolis, Brooklyn at Toronto, Charlotte at New York Knicks, Atlanta and Miami, Washington at Cleveland, Orlando at Boston, Milwaukee at Philadelphia, Golden State at the Clippers. That's gonna be a first round of the playing outlook there. Utah and the Lakers, Chicago at Dallas, Memphis at Houston, the Pelicans at the Timberwolves, Sacramento at Portland, Phoenix at OKC, and Denver at San Antonio, as aforementioned by James there. So those will be interesting games. Everybody, watch. Today's the last day of the regular season. A lot is at stake for a lot of these teams as far as playoff positioning is concerned. So
I think those 8 and 9 teams, those games are big, right? Because they don't want to play in that first
Right.
round of that, because it's kind of screwy the way they play that whole play-in thing. Anyway, in my mind, I don't know, but I think you want to avoid that night spot, obviously, if you can.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it kind of shows you how the Eastern Conference is wide open too. If you've got slots 5 through 10 that are being fought for positioning on, and it's going to be wild.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens today. Going on to, there was a fight last night, and I'm going to bring Jack into this because he's our boxing extraordinaire. Tyson Fury came back last night and returned, and it ended in victory for him over heavyweight, for the former heavyweight champion, being I know I'm gonna butcher the heck out of his name, Arslanbek, Matt Commodore. Jack would be better at this. There you go.
We could forget his name after we mention it once because it's about Tyson Fury. Okay, he shouldn't have been mentioned more than once. Okay, so Tyson Fury, former heavyweight champion, calls out Anthony Joshua after the fight. Anthony Joshua's at ringside, sitting in the first row because obviously it's the biggest fight that could be made in the heavyweight division. Never mind that the expiration date on that fight, really passed a while ago when both were at their best. And it's an entertainment business. I'll say it again. If you even look at Anthony Joshua, his last 3 fights, I mean, what did he do? He stopped Jake Paul in 6 rounds, a fight that people thought he was going to win in 1 or 2 rounds. But I won't hold it against him. It took him 6 rounds because Paul was running around the ring for the most part. And Paul has a level of competency, despite what people say, because he's a legitimate boxer now, Paul, and people look at him as just a YouTube guy. And there's 2 fights before that, he got knocked out, Joshua, by Daniel Dubois. You heard me. He got knocked out by Dubois. In the fight before that, he won a decision over Jermaine Franklin, a decision, okay? So what's Anthony Joshua been doing? He's not exactly a world beat anymore. He's not the fighter he was. And Tyson Fury, we're getting tired of his act, all his bold talk. I mean, he comes across as a clown. And but he's still very competent. He kind of reminds me of what the great marathoner Frank Shorter said, a couple of decades after he'd won the Olympics. He said, I can still do the same workouts I did when I was in the prime of my career, but I just do them slower. And Tyson Fury can still fight the same way he did during his prime. He just does it a little slower. He boxes very well, has a high skill level. But after the fight, I enjoyed the grandstanding. Tyson Fury's in the ring, and they invite Anthony Joshua, this promoter Eddie Hearn, to come up into the ring. But Joshua and Hearn don't want to, rightfully so. They don't have a contract for the fight. So Tyson Fury goes, I challenge you to give the people the fight we want. Meanwhile, Joshua's correct. For years, Tyson Fury is hemming and hawing, saying, I'll fight you, Joshua, 80-20 split in my favor. I'll compromise 75-25 in my favor. He was making the terms so bad that Joshua couldn't take the fight. And Joshua's seen this act before. He's tired of it. He doesn't go for the grandstanding, and that's what makes these fighters complete fools to me in the way they act. They challenge another fighter to a fight and expect the other fighter to accept the challenge. Meanwhile, there's no contract. There's no contract. Present a darn contract with numbers. That's how you present a challenge. But they don't do it. And then they start, I'll fight you, winner take all. Let's bet the money. That's why boxing is a gutter sport. Can you imagine the two coaches bet their season's pay at a press conference with one another? Roger Goodell would suspend them both from the Super Bowl game or whatever. But in boxing, it's commonplace. I mean, it's ridiculous. But what's probably going to happen, Anthony Joshua is probably, I believe he's going to fight Deontay Wilder first. That's going to be his so-called warm-up. And then after that fight, he is going to fight Tyson Fury. It's going to be a massively giant fight because in boxing, it's about the brand names. Even you look at Pacquiao and Mayweather, if they fight, it's going to have major interest, even though both guys in their later 40s. In reality, it means nothing, but people are going to go for it. Look, Mike Tyson, he comes back to the ring and he's fight whoever, and people are going to say, "Oh, Tyson is fighting tonight. Let me tune in." Isn't
an indictment on boxing in general that all the big fights, and even in the heavyweights, they're all 37, 38 years old. We're talking about 40-year-old, late 40s, Pacquiao and Mayweather, and go back to the days when guys were good and read Michael Jackson, man.
Good plug. Good plug.
I should speak to him about returning to the ring next time.
Yeah. Probably about the right age now to go.
You know what gets me? You guys have heard it a lot of times in other sports. The commentators get excited about the action and they go, "This is like a heavyweight fight." And I feel like saying, "Guys, heavyweight fights suck." So don't, say that to the audience.
No, yes.
This is like a heavyweight fight. Then it's not that good of a game, if that's the case.
They do. When you think about, I go back, and again, not to just be patting Jack on the back the whole time, but I read Jack's book and a great job. You read about the names. You read about the names in this book, and then you think about the names we're talking about now, and you think, oh my God, how far has this sport fallen? At least from the heavyweight side of it, it's sad. It's really kind of sad.
But it was on Netflix, so that was good. And it was an afternoon thing coming from the UK. So they didn't keep us up till, 1 in the morning to see the fight.
That's the only way they're going to get me to watch.
Now, Jack, if there is that potential showdown between Fury and Joshua, are you gonna watch it?
Oh yeah, of course I'm gonna watch it, and of course I'm interested. It's still a good fight. It's just, it would have been a massive fight when both guys fight at their best. I mean, that's what you want to see, guys fighting at their best. You don't want to see them later on in their career. And listen, and Anthony Joshua, he ducked Deontay Wilder when Joshua was in his prime. Now Joshua, and especially Wilder, is way past his prime. And they're going to fight, and the names are still magic. Certain names are always going to be magic. Guys, you would go, I don't know what about James Keith. I get the feeling, Brian, you were a Frank Sinatra fan.
I'm a big Sinatra fan.
But late in Sinatra's career, his voice was nowhere near what it was when he was younger. but he would pack places because he was Frank Sinatra. There was this magic, with a certain name, and that's what it is.
He opened the Times Union Center here in Albany, New York, and the place was packed. And this is like 30 years ago. But he was drunker than a skunk, but nobody cared.
Yeah,
nobody cared. He didn't even remember the words of the songs. Nobody cared.
No care. How do you know? What do you mean you didn't remember the words?
He would
Frankie.
He would just because he drank so much before the game or before this concert. He would forget the words. I was there that night, and nobody cared. No,
but right, because Frankie sounded good even if he was slurring.
Nobody cared that he was drunk. Nobody cared he forgot the songs.
You just see these guys out there. It's about a brand. I mean, I say that all the time. I talk to you guys, and I know Brian especially disagrees. Sometimes you want a guy on your team and your organization because of the brand, what he means. That's why I thought Saquon Barkley guy should have been a career Giant. It was important for the legacy of the franchise. Even like a potential debate question, it's supposed to be all about winning, right? But if you take any play, and I'm sorry if I'm changing the topics to shut me down quickly,
well, you're
Brian,
moving
after
into
this
where we need to go.
If you could have a case, let's say Mickey Mantle, there were a couple of years they didn't win the World Series. If the Yankees could have won one additional World Series but never had Mickey Mantle on their team, what would you have taken? The one additional World Series? And Mickey Mantle never would have been a Yankee, or having Mickey Mantle as a Yankee? I'd say having Mickey Mantle as a Yankee was more valuable to the overall brand of the franchise than one extra championship.
I would agree. But they also don't win any of those. Well, not any. They wouldn't win.
I mean, if Mickey Mantle could never be on the team, it was a bunch of non-superstars that won here. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't have won, I guess. Would be my argument, number one. But I agree with you. I'd rather have Mickey in a couple less championships. Yes. Okay. And we got that with Judge now. So.
We got another one, guys. James, how many champions? Tom Brady said he would have given up, James, 2 Super Bowls to have that unbeaten season. You give him that. And what would you have traded for the unbeaten season? Let's say they could beat the Giants 19-0, but they had to give back to the devil. Would you have given back 3 Super Bowls, 2 less if you're Tom Brady? So instead of winning 7, you would have won 5, but one of the 5 would have been the unbeaten season.
Yes.
The reason why I say that, because
but go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
James,
no, I mean, how many? No, I wouldn't give them all back. But that's wild. You're a high roller, buddy. There's no way.
When James gets there,
Brian wouldn't have given any of them back. Brian strictly.
No,
hell no.
I would have given
any.
He won 7. The greatest player, arguably, is Montana had what, 4? Or 5? Or he had 4. He had 4. So to give them back and to have that undefeated season so you could shut Mercury Morris up and all those other guys, rest in peace, Mercury Morris, all those other guys up and say, yes, we are 18-0. And we are 19. It would have been 19-0, right? So it would have been 19-0. And that's your legacy right there. I mean, it's like Golden State not winning the championship and you're up 3-1. It's similar. I mean, it's always going to hurt. You got all of the championships, and I heard Clay talk about it. He said of all the championships they went to, he said that one still stings. It's there. You worked so hard for that moment, and it's one game. There's nothing you can do.
Where's the stopping point? How do you give 3 for 1? Brady would have given 2 for 1.
I would have given 3. I would have given 3. He's got 7. So to say that you have, I mean, and plus 1, he still would have 5. You know, so I mean, yeah, he still would have 5. So it's just, I would have given 3 up.
Different people are going to have different answers. A player is going to answer different than James, who's not a Patriot fan, is going to answer just as a football fan. And I'm going to answer, as a Patriot fan, I'm going to answer totally differently because of where I live and what I have to listen to. I'd give up every other Super Bowl to beat the Giants in the 2 we lost to the Giants.
So you would have
So-
settled for an unbeaten season and one other Super Bowl, the one against the Giants, a total of 2 instead of
Yes, because
uh,
Giant
the
fans.
6. They won 6 actually with the Patriots.
See, I have to
They
live with a
could have given 4 away with the Patriots.
I have to live around and hang around a bunch of Giant fans who think they've won 12 Super Bowls and whatever number you want to throw out there because they won those 2 against the Patriots. I'll hang that over my head forever. So if I give up all of the other ones just to beat them twice, I'd be happy. And one of them would be an undefeated season. So I would.
It would have to be the unbeaten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just want to shut these guys up.
Well, I
Oh,
guess
my
you're giving
goodness.
Carolina some respect on that situation because that was one of the teams that they beat barely in one of the Super Bowls. So you could say you give that one back to them. Carolina to actually have a Super Bowl they won. Who else did they play that was pretty close? The Rams
Eagles.
would be another one.
All
The Rams would probably
Super
one.
Bowls were close.
Most of their Super Bowls are very close.
Twice. Close. Yeah.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, Vinatieri was the guy that saved them in the first couple.
Rams, a Panther game, he saved them.
Yep. Mhm.
Yep,
Donovan McNabb throwing up helped them against the Eagles.
for sure. And T.O. will let the whole world know about that for sure.
Speaking of the NFL, we're going to get to NFL news and notes. The Packers trade Wicks, wide receiver Wicks, to the Eagles for a 5th round 2026 and a 7th, or 5th. Was it a 5th round? 5th round,
This
2026
year
and
and
a
a
27
sixth
and a
next year.
27 6 the next year. Yeah. So, does that help them? Do you think the
No,
Philadelphia Eagles-
it helps them in the decision to say that we may possibly trade AJ Brown. So I think that he's not just added depth. You're not trading for somebody and giving up a couple of round draft picks if you're not preparing for something. And they're probably going to draft a wide receiver as well. So I think this is probably the undoing of AJ Brown, which is probably the undoing himself. But I think he's going to get traded. And Keith, there's a lot of names coming up, but specifically the Patriots have been in the mix with rumors. For sure.
I meant to ask you guys that. Now, because of what went down swirling around with Grable and Rossini, the photos and all, and Hub breaking a story before that about A.J. Brown maybe going to the Patriots, are the Patriots going to kind of back off maybe a little? Because if they got A.J. Brown, now we hear all that talk that happened before.
I don't know why that would change their approach at all. It isn't going to affect the organization at all. This affects the reporter in my mind more than anybody else. I don't even think listen, I don't believe photos at all anymore. So there's a lot of context not being shown in those photos. I can tell you right now, I don't know what's going on. I don't care. I don't think it changes their approach. I think it's a matter of whether they're going to want to give up what it takes to get him. And that's all it's going to matter. And we're not going to know. Unfortunately, we aren't going to know for another month and a half because this isn't going to happen till June 1st now. It's waited this long. They're not going to do anything. They can save themselves, I think, I want to say $7 million if they wait till June 2nd or whatever it is.
But you may have a little bit more of an idea after the draft, though.
You might. You'll see what teams do. Yeah, I think you'll have an idea. I have doubts they're going to want to give up what it's going to take to get him. I have my doubts.
And pay him. You still have to pay him, too.
I don't think this current situation is going to affect whether they get him or not. I really don't.
And it's not a slam dunk that the Eagles are going to move on from him. I think, even though they might be leaning in that direction, I think it's Nick Sirianni's call. Can you live with A.J. Brown? Yeah. And A.J. Brown isn't really a troublemaker in the real sense. He's high maintenance in a way.
He's a diva, like all
right? But does A.J. Brown have a good point? He hated the way the Eagle offense was being run. And and it looked like he was correct. The way they changed coordinators, the whole offensive team.
Him and Hurts don't get along. That's a big thing.
But they got along great at one point.
Well,
it's not
the point.
It's not personal. It's more so. It's more so how how they're playing and Hurts is. I think he's had limited plays, and sometimes they say they're questioning his decision making in regards to the plays that he's allowed to choose to make. And Look, I just think that whatever it is, keep it in house. They should have kept it in house, and I think, and a big part of it is 6 coordinators in his tenure is not good either.
No,
6
that's
offensive
Not
coordinators.
good for any player.
and a couple of them left because they were very good. So
Right, exactly.
and
Too,
fairness,
but yeah.
it is hard on a quarterback to have to go through that many coordinators for sure.
Well, I'm not shedding any tears over this whole situation because he has been in 2 Super Bowls and he's won 1. So I'm not shedding no tears over Jalen Hurts right now. But if Philadelphia does move on from AJ Brown, do you think they feel confident? Well, they might have to feel confident, but if Devontae Smith is their number one, being a number one,
I would be. I love Devontae Smith. I think he's, in a lot of ways, I think he's as good or better than AJ Brown. He doesn't get as many opportunities since Brown got there. I think if Brown never came to the Eagles, you'd be looking at Devontae Smith a whole different way, and you'd be looking at him as one of the top wide receivers in the game. I like that kid a lot.
And is it
look at
God
them
is a free agent?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, he is. And
Yeah.
there's a possibility that they may either draft a tight end or they may draft a wide receiver.
Yeah.
But look for the Eagles. Definitely, I was just going to say, look for them to look into that area in the first round or second round of the draft. And I think I heard you mention Wednesday, Keith, that it's not the highly impact. There's like 3 really highly impactful wide receivers, but then there's a bunch of wide receivers that there's more depth that you
can get later.
add
Yeah,
later.
for sure. I hope the Patriots, if in fact, oh God, who were we just talking about? Oh my God.
AJ Brown.
No, Devontae Smith. If he, in
Devontae,
fact, he's a free agent, I'd rather wait a year and get Devontae Smith. I wish he was the guy available right now. I really do. That's who I would like to see the Patriots have rather than AJ Brown.
And AJ Brown's going to be 29 too. So
Yeah.
and a guy his size, that doesn't, bode well for him in regards to being
durability,
like an elite. Yeah. And being elite with speed and everything else,
Mhm.
at that size. So with that big of a price tag as well.
I don't remember AJ Brown when he got to the Eagles. He had a pretty big year the first year, correct? Wasn't it kind of Stephon Diggs where he kind of molded himself into the team better than he has in recent years?
Yeah, I
The
think
first
the
5 or
first
6 years,
yeah.
And
First 5 or 6 years, he's been great, but then he kind of
with
tailored
the
off.
Eagles. He hasn't been with the Eagles 6 years, right? He was with the Titans.
No.
No, he
Right.
was a Titan.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about
First
when he went to the Eagles. I
The
think
Eagles.
Right.
Yeah, this first couple of years were really good, and you got to understand the difference too when you have a elite running back come to your team, and the offense is focused around him, like Kellen Moore had focused the offense around Saquon.
Yeah.
That's you're taking something out of the equation with that, and that's where the downfall, I believe, of AJ Brown started right there,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
he wasn't getting the ball, and like you said, he's a diva. I want the ball. Some receivers don't handle that with great respect or regard. So, and then that's where the issues with Hurts came into view, because Hurts is a petty quarterback. If you ever watch games and if you watch AJ drop a ball, guess who he goes to next? Devontae, and he don't go back to AJ Brown for about 5 or 6 offensive plays. So it's like, dude, if you can't catch the ball, I'm not throwing it to you. And he's petty.
Fair enough.
He'll do that.
Because he doesn't. I mean, when you look at his percentages of throws, they're not many at all. So they run the ball a lot more than they throw it.
Yeah. Anyway, this is gonna come close our show out. Remember, the draft is only 11 days away.
Wow.
So stay tuned for that. Yeah, it's coming up on us
Next
fast.
Sunday, I think that'll dominate our conversation, the draft.
Yes, it definitely will. Thanks, Jack, for that segue.
Well.
Anyway, we will see you next Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everybody have a great day, and make sure you turn into Keith Ingles' show next to Stream of Consciousness. Everybody have a great day. Peace out.
See you guys.